What up, fam? I just want to show this off. This is a video titled "Why I Will Never Vote for Bernie in the Democratic Primary" by Kristi Winners. This has been downvoted to hell and shit, but it's pretty pretentious. But I just want to go over her main points here that she.
He's not a Democrat. He's undermined the Democratic Party. He's run against the Democratic Party. He's renounced the Democratic Party multiple times. And it might not be important to you to have someone who represents the Democratic Party who actually supports it. That's fine. For me, it is.
The thing that I have a problem with here is that you don't explain why it is that you want somebody that supports specifically the Democratic Party and not the political ideology and and the issues that you want in the platform that they have. That kind of weirds me out. Like, why are you so specific about specifically the Democratic Party? She says in this video that she has previously worked for the Democratic Party, so that's the only thing I can come to the conclusion on, is that she's a Democratic shill. But I don't know. Like, if there's any other reason, please let me know. Most people out there, especially the younger generation, they don't give a fuck about what the letter is besides your name. They want to make sure that the policies that you're putting forth are what best aligns with what they're going to vote for, which is typically how most people vote. Now, that does weed you into a certain party most of the time, which is why people stay on certain sides most of the time. But a lot of people don't give a fuck about that. So it would then be a case of, why do you care when almost everybody else doesn't? If your whole issue is that Bernie Sanders doesn't run as an independent, you hate him because he's not a fucking idiot. That's why. Nobody runs as an independent that wants to actually get the election, that wants to actually win. Okay? And if you're smart, you wouldn't do that, because nobody wins as an independent. Okay? So if he runs in the Democratic primary and then renounces it and says that he's independent, nobody gives a fuck, since he's obviously done it multiple times, many times, and he still gets the nomination from those same Democratic people in the Democratic Party. So you tell me exactly why you think it's a bad thing when pretty much everybody else says otherwise and they don't give a fuck. Doesn't make a sense at all.
Doing a disservice to both socialism and capitalism by trying to make them look like the same thing, or to not really be clear on the difference between democratic socialism, social democracy, and current Republican Party policy. And I'm just not happy.
What? What are you talking about? Earlier in this video, she says Bernie bros are people that are for the revolution and want their, communist or socialist little mindset. She says communist and socialist. She seems to think those are interchangeable, or that people that vote for Bernie like communism. I'm dumbfounded by this. I don't know what to think. Maybe she's not aware of how American politics works. I'm not entirely sure. Or like how it works now, or maybe she's not familiar with communism. That's not how that works. I haven't seen that anywhere. What are you fucking talking about? She says earlier in the video that she's mad because Bernie does not go full-on socialism with his policies and what he's going to go with. It's more of a diet socialist, if you will. Most of us realize that. That's actually why a lot of really big socialists aren't that vocal about supporting Bernie. They're more so like, yeah, I'll vote for him, that's fine. If I had to choose somebody, I would vote for him. He doesn't all the way align with what I want, but he's the most aligned with my political ideology as opposed to anybody else in the race. That's why. So this is not something new. This isn't like a got you moment, because everybody that isn't a fucking idiot knows this already. So the reason why he's doing it, and there's a little divide within the I think the socialist or whatever movement, I don't know. There are some people that think that we need a transition period between capitalism and socialism. There are other people that don't believe that and think that's stupid, and that we could just go straight on and just transition right away. I, on one hand, think that we probably need a little transition period. And also keep in mind, and this is consistent with what we've discussed before, He wants to be electable. Being full-on socialist is... It may not be as much today as it was prior, but it's still career suicide, okay? Plain and simple. You're not going to win a general election being in that manner. Bernie still wants to be electable. And Bernie, unlike most people, actually does try to represent the people's values that voted him in. So that's why actually some people bring this up as if it's a bad point, which, I mean, it's whatever, but it shows his conviction in my eyes. He has voted for a lot of gun right. He votes more so in favor of gun owners' rights, mostly because where he's from in Vermont, that's a very specific issue that his constituents care about, and they voted for him for. And so he's making sure he represents the people that elected him. So if I'm looking at somebody and I know there's Elizabeth Warren that don't give a fuck about LGBT community and happen to just, I don't know, try to find somebody in that community to be her token LGBTQ representative, then it comes out that that person is a fucking huge racist, homophobic asshole that has been using gay slurs on Twitter forever and is a relentless harassing person against the LGBTQ community, even though she's supposed to be a representative of that. That would tell me that this Elizabeth Warren person doesn't represent those same values of the people that she's supposedly trying to get the votes for. I haven't heard you or anybody else that is Elizabeth Warren supporter speak out about this. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know. It also showed a little bit of y'all's conviction when AOC and a lot of her constituents gave their support to Bernie. And then y'all went on a fucking field day saying that she's not a real person of color and just tweeting out a lot of racist shit from the white feminist party that doesn't care about women of color unless it benefits them. Yeah, I really love that whole shit show that y'all pulled down, and when you showed your real true colors about how you really don't care about somebody until they go with the person that you care about. So that kind of shows me what character Elizabeth Warren little bros like to put out there. It's disgusting. Elizabeth Warren had her as a campaign surrogate, made a video with her, promoted her, gave her a platform and everything, and this person 2 days before this came out was saying homophobic shit on Twitter. And she propped it up. Her response was that she was drugged up the few years back when she made the tweets, which doesn't explain the 2 days before or the week prior or the month prior multiple tweets where she was harassing and being homophobic and racist towards Asians in particular. I don't know why, but she has a hate boner for Asians. It was disgusting. So I don't know. I don't see this out of Bernie's campaign. Bernie's campaign actually just doesn't, put somebody on a platform from a particular community so that he could get their votes, and then doesn't vet them at all to make sure they don't make that community look bad because they're a representative of that community, like Elizabeth Warren did here. So I don't know. I would probably want to go with a person that actually has a good campaign and influenced a lot of the other people in the Democratic Party that's using a lot of the shit that he did. Like with this grassroots movement and getting donations from, the voters and not taking donations from big corporations or anything. And his healthcare platform that he's rolling on that everybody else is trying to take credit for, and a lot of other stuff that the Democratic Party and in particular Elizabeth Warren has gracefully just been inspired by and done their stuff. But he's done nothing for the Democratic Party. No, he's done nothing, even though he owes them nothing and nobody gives a fuck, because the Democratic Party is full of spineless people that still take big checks from corporations and won't do anything to stop Republicans half the time, and just will just lay down for them at any point. That's what a lot of this little rebellion is that you see from the Bernie crowd, is that they're tired of the bullshit, not just from the right, but from the left that's supposedly trying to help them and represent them, and they're letting them down. So you could see why those people in particular definitely would not give a fuck if they're Democratic or independent or whatever. They don't care about the fucking Democratic Party, especially when the Democratic Party fails them and they take money instead of representing the people that voted for them. So, I don't know.
Having that, I can't support that. I will never get behind making people dumber when you're trying to get policies out there and to get a campaign going and to run as president, not actually knowing what socialism is and how it's different from capitalism, and actually proposing socialist policies, paying for student loans with taxes for millionaires, making college tuition.
Wait, what? Wait, are you mad that he's not more socialist? Is that what you're saying? Because out of the field, he is the most socialist candidate. Who's more socialist than him? I'm very confused. I mean, I'm obviously saying, as I said before, he's not like fucking huge blown on socialist. He's obviously trying to introduce a transitional period and introduce more socialist policies. But who out there would represent your beliefs that you think people should put forward that are way more socialist? That apparently he's trying to say he is, even though he's not pushing that. What? This makes no fucking sense. What are you fucking saying right now? Like, do you listen to yourself talk? How does that make sense in your head? I would like to know. Like, what exactly do you have a problem with him doing? You're mad at him for introducing socialist ideology, but it's not socialist enough? Then, like, who's the best fit? Because people that are socialist, as I said before, think that he is the one that most represents what they would want, but that he is not completely socialist, because he never said he was completely socialist in what he is putting on for his presidential campaign. Now, he might believe in a lot of socialist ideology, and he might be all for that. But for his presidential candidacy, he has not been ambiguous about that at all. It has been very clear from the beginning, and it is a clear indication and guideline that he is obviously introducing light diet socialist policies. Okay, so this hasn't changed, and it's not a bait or switch or anything. So you kind of bringing this out of nowhere is misinformation and falsehoods. You're making up lies. So I don't know. I mean, for me, like, I'm bringing up stuff that actually happens with Elizabeth Warren campaign within the past 2 weeks, and you're bringing up like these fantasies in your head of what some Bernie Sanders person said on Twitter that made you not want to vote for this candidacy. So what? The only thing I've really gathered from this is that it doesn't matter who it is, as long as they most align with the Democratic Party, which is such a vague thing that could change at any point in time. That's who you want to vote for. Well, then, what is the political ideology and what is the platform that is the Democratic Party that you think represents the party? Then that would be where the discussion would be had from there. Because you seem to have a different mindset of what those policies are and who represents them the most. So this video is incomplete. You haven't finished it. Please finish the video. Tell us what you think the Democratic Party's actual ideology is and should be. And then you can argue from there. Well, does Bernie represent that? Yes, no. Okay, then you could go, then that would make sense. But now it just doesn't make any sense. It just sounds like you're trying to make stuff up and be vague about stuff to have a reason to hate on somebody instead of voting on somebody for the issues that they vote for in their platform. Like, that's what people vote for. You do realize that, right? That's how, keep going.
Tuition free. None of that is about socialism. You can do all that with restructured capitalism. And that's all I see from Bernie. Oh, and can I add one last note? His followers are trash. Now, I'm sorry if you're a Sanders supporter and you're not a jerk. Congratulations.
Congratulations on not being a complete waste of a human being. But the person that you're voting for and that you support, well, because of one person that I saw on Twitter, it kind of puts you in a bad crowd there. Congratulations. Oh, by the way, my candidate actually has terrible human beings that support them, and a lot of the supporters are actually racist people that are supporters of Elizabeth Warren. But I won't get into that at all, because then I would actually have to defend something terrible, and then maybe I would have to actually expose that somebody can't be responsible for the very, very, very small percentage of people that are ravenous fans of any fan base anywhere, and then I might actually have to actually think about my political viewpoint and what I actually believe in, because right now it's just my hatred for some people on Twitter, so I'm just voting in accordance to what'll piss them off the most. That's how you sound to most people in this video.
You're a rarity. But the fact is that Sanders...
A rarity! Get that, people. If you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, it's rare that you would be a decent person. That is amazing. I can't believe you would say something like that when you go against people like Sargon of Akkad, who would say the exact same thing that you're saying right now. And you would give him shit for that. You pull off the same shit because you have some hate voter for Bernie, and you want to slob on the knob of old Elizabeth Warren. Oh lordy. But let's not address any of the controversy she's had. No. The person that used to be a fucking Republican? Oh yeah, that person definitely represents the fucking Democratic Party. Oh, I just realized that too. Fucking Elizabeth Warren was in the Republican Party. And you're talking about somebody that most represents the Democratic Party. Are you fucking kidding me? Unbelievable. I can't even understand where there's no other explanation for your political mindset and what your beliefs are besides you just hate somebody, so you're voting for somebody else besides that person, and you'll just find any reason to do that. Because even in your own mindset, I'm for somebody that represents the Democratic ideology and that will actually support the Democratic Party and most represents them. A fucking Republican until the mid-2000s? I don't trust that person, buddy. The person that only in the past 5 to 7 years has supported LGBTQ rights. That sounds like somebody that's not sure about what they support, actually. Sounds like a flip-flopper to me. Sounds like somebody that's trying to get the votes of minorities right there. Well, what about Sanders, huh? Oh, he's been doing this since the 70s, campaigning out there for workers' rights and for unions and for the LGBTQ community and their rallies that they had. Oh, and for civil rights too, getting arrested for going in those. Oh my God, I can't speak right now. Getting arrested for advocating for civil rights. There. Bernie sounds like the person that would represent probably your idea of what the Democratic Party should be. That just sounds like what that is. I don't know. Or anybody other than Elizabeth Warren, because she does not, obviously.
Supporters are the worst. They're the absolute worst. I know people will say, not supporting Sanders because his supporters are awful is stupid. Well, you know who tells me that? Bernie Sanders supporters. Because they insult people all the time, and they don't want to win them over. If it's Bernie Sanders and his supporters are out there lording it on Twitter, we are going to alienate independent voters and moderate and conservative Democrats right the way away. All right, well, let the hate begin.
Okay, so you just complained about him trying to actually get the votes from those people, and and now you're saying he doesn't actually advocate for those people, and he's going to lose the votes of those people, even though polls have showed that is not the case, and he would actually be better opposed to Trump, better than any other Democratic candidate. You're factually incorrect. You are very incorrect. You're putting out falsehoods, and you sound stupid. If you like a candidate, that's fine. Nobody cares. Just don't make up lies about people. This is something that's happened. Even the fucking... you must have... Maybe you got this from the surrogate. Maybe that's what it is. Because this same person, Ashley M. Preston, said that Bernie never attended an LGBTQ rally since the 1970s, and she was proven wrong by people, and that's when they said, first off, that's not right. Secondly, who are you to talk about LGBTQ rights when you have all this shit on your Twitter timeline? So if anything, you Elizabeth Warren campaign losers out there are actually the people giving out disinformation about people, and these Bernie people are having to be on the defense because y'all keep pulling up all these fucking lies. Like, if you like Elizabeth Warren, just do that. Just say she advocates for your rights and what you believe in more than the other candidates. Don't go out of your way to make up lies about other candidates. Why? And why Bernie in particular? What is it about Bernie that brings this up? Like, I just don't get it. It just blows my mind, really. Like, what is it, because he's the most popular person against Trump? Is that what it is? Like, you see him as a threat? I don't know. You people fucking kill me, man. I can't deal with y'all. And not voting for a candidate because you don't like some of the people on Twitter. That's got to be the most baby thing I've ever heard somebody do. Go sit in a corner and cry. Like, seriously, that's child time right there. Get out of here. Why are you even having a discussion about anything like this when this is what you have to bring? It's so dumb. Okay, I'm done. I can't.